It's a pleasure to know that you're still with us on Breakfast Weekend this morning. Now, COVID-19 came into the world, not just into Nigeria, and put a full stop to a number of things. Fortunately, for some countries, they were able to immediately have a level of backup to some of the things they've been doing before. Online classes resumed for events. People quickly switched to the virtual option. Unfortunately, yes, at first we tried to have an e-learning platform available, but many people have questioned the effectiveness of this platform for Nigerian students and for the Nigerian curriculum. This morning, we're going to be discussing with Mr. Saanu, who is an educationist and a media practitioner, on why e-learning has not taken the spot that it has taken in other countries in Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. It's a pleasure having me here.
So, before now, the e-learning option wasn't really used in the education sector. Maybe in the corporate world for adults, a couple of meetings are held virtually 1 or 2 times. But in education, it was never really a thing. Even without the advent of coronavirus or any virus forcing us to stay away from physical gatherings in schools, why would you say e-learning didn't have a spot in the first place in our education system?
Well, thank you so much for having me again. So for so many reasons. Because the advent of COVID-19 has imposed so many, has exposed our limitations.
Yeah.
Let me expand the scope of the discussion a little. As far back as 1962 to 64, a Canadian scholar, Marshall McLuhan, predicted that the whole world is becoming a global village. As far back as 1962, 64, in his book. Good, in his book. But we didn't prepare for that. So if you, now to go back to your question, why is it difficult for Nigeria to just seamlessly switch over? So many reasons. One, infrastructural deficit. We don't have it. In fact, this is just a wake-up call for everybody in Nigeria. Or nobody expected this. So when you are talking about infrastructural deficit, both Nigerian leaders and the citizens will still have a long way to destination. Perhaps as a result of poverty. Perhaps because our leaders have been taking us for granted for years. Basic things that are supposed to be in place are not there. When you are talking about e-learning in higher institutions, don't go there. There are so many problems. Do you know what many students go through to attend classes in school? Physical classes. The level of poverty is just so alarming.
Apart from that poverty, okay. Even the preparedness, the students' inability to switch is one thing.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to the preparedness of the teachers, or in the tertiary institution, in this case lecturers, some of them are not equipped, they're not skilled technically like that. So what role is that playing, and how can we get rid of that?
Thank you so much for that. That's another aspect of the discussion. Do you know that there are some lecturers that are called BBC? I don't know whether I know the name of BBC.
I don't think I do.
That is born before computers. There are so many professors across Nigeria who are still finding it difficult to use email. That is the bitter truth. Who are afraid to use laptop. I've had instances, I've moved around, I've had instances where professors are begging the younger ones to come and put them through. Just how to send mail, how to print from their computers. So they said they were born before computers. That is the traditional way with which they've been doing this thing. I mean, it's still with them even up till now. They said they are alien to this system. They said, well, this generation, this digital age, they are alien to all these innovations, we are talking about. And this is a challenge. If you don't wake up, they need to still upgrade themselves. If they fail to do that, I don't know. Maybe it's uncharitable for me to say they will soon be outdated, because the world is moving at a very fast pace. Look at what I said. As far back as 1964, when somebody just conceptualized the idea of global village, and we didn't take it serious, we didn't prepare, we just felt, well, the way we've been doing it is the way we'll continue to do it. No, the world has moved.
If we have, these are some of the teachers, or let me say educationists, we have to contend with in our education system. How then can we begin to hope that the concept of e-learning is actually going to take effect in our system?
It's a challenge. We just need, as I said, it's a wake-up call. We need to wake up, everybody, the lecturers, the students, everybody. Even if you are not in the education sector, you need to wake up.
But Corona has been here for about 3-4 months.
Yes, we have not woken up. We are still sleeping. We are still sleeping. People should begin to go for training in ICT, knowledge and stuff like that. When some people, do you know now? I was discussing with somebody. I said, lecturers should not be addressed as lecturers anymore. Rather, we should address them as knowledge facilitators, because basically everything you need is on the internet. If you can access all these things, you need the lecturer. There's hardly any topic, my sister, that you want under the sun now that you can't get online. And some TV now, some television stations now, are doing away with what we are doing here now. Physical interaction with the interviewers, with Zoom and other technology. You talk to people in their houses. How prepared are we to launch ourselves into this? Are we ready to just move at this pace? Are we not just too relaxed and say, but no, you can't blame people totally. You can't. Reason being that, one, infrastructure deficit, the level of poverty in the country. These two factors, they are indeed the cause of this problem we are talking about. Because people that have not really fed the families, you are saying they should go for training in ICT. Do you know some 400 level students, they don't have laptop just to do their project research. They don't have it. And when you find out what's going on, say, well, my father is poor, my mother is poor, they are in the village, they are just struggling. So the level of poverty is too high. Then our government is not helping matter. There's a way they could assist people by making available, student loans, just ensure that the situation is, it's ameliorated. The tension is too much, my sister.
Some experts have said perhaps we should look towards a blended approach of learning, so where we still have a little bit of the normal, regular physical classes and the virtual learning together. For now, because of the challenges we have, would you say that's okay?
Yeah, that's okay. That's the level, the gradual step I think we should take to move on. Because to say, okay, let us just adopt what is going on in advanced countries, we don't have the capacity. We don't have it. Maybe coronavirus has now come to expose our limitations and to wake us up to say, now these are the realities. Are you coping? So that is I think it's a better approach. Let's start gradually, interface with people, one-on-one. Then we gradually, move to technological innovation with which we can interact without coming from your home. There was a day I asked a lecturer, I said, is it possible, as far back as about 5 years ago, that is it not possible for somebody to have a PhD without coming to, for instance, the University of Ibadan? I said, no, it's not possible. That is not possible.
Is that the lecturer speaking or
that's the lecturer. That was the lecturer speaking. That it wasn't possible. That in fact, the university authority would like to see your face so that they will, to quote him now, they will know that they are not talking to a ghost. As far back, just about 5 years ago, I said, okay, I said it's not possible. You can't have a PhD. We allow coming, but with the realities on ground now, it's now obvious that you can have your PhD without even coming to the main campus. It's possible. They can interview you through Zoom. You can defend your project, your thesis, through all this technological innovation we are talking about. But are we ready? Do we have the means? Do you have the capacity?
You are quite close to the authority in one of the leading universities here in Nigeria. Would you say that you've seen any steps being taken by some of these authorities when it comes to making education easier? I understand that some schools, maybe not necessarily the school you're in, have tried using WhatsApp and Telegram to, facilitate the learning process. Some of them manage to get video calls working. But would you say any actual steps have been taken? I don't want you to mention the school, so that I'm not putting you on the spot.
Okay.
The school you're with, would you say you've noticed any actual step being taken technologically? And if not, are there steps, any steps being taken?
Yes, there are so many steps that people are taking to ensure that we overcome this present challenge. People are trying to network, people are trying to organize lectures, send lectures on the video to their students. And but the whole effort still goes back to what we are saying, the level of poverty. I have seen parents who are complaining bitterly that people should just return to school. The rate at which their children are asking for money for data, they can't cope. Look at that. You can't do all this without data.
Definitely.
The children need to buy data to cope. The parents are poor. Even if the lecturers are prepared their lectures and whatever to send to their children, and the children they don't have means of receiving it. What do they do? So we should just pray that the level of poverty, government should just wake up to do something about reducing the level of poverty. That is my strong point. If poverty is not reduced, even if the lecturers are experts in the technology, and you can't get to your audience, what do?
Don't you think if we go the way of virtual learning, it may eventually, in the long run, be more cost effective than the normal way of learning?
There's no doubt that it is very, very cost effective. No doubt about it. It is efficient, it's cost effective, it's modern, and it can really facilitate development. But we are talking about the means of getting there. I know that with time we'll get there, because if I don't know whether you went to bank in those days when you will be given tallies and your name will be called. Some people, by 2 o'clock, people have started will have started trooping to banks. That they will close by 3. Let me go there. But if at that time, if somebody had told us that the time is coming, you can withdraw your money
without leaving your room.
Without leaving your room, we can transact business without leaving your room. We can withdraw your money 12 midnight, anytime you like. We will say, how would that be possible? I think it's a gradual process. We'll get there. It's only that we should realize the fact that we have a challenge, and we should begin to wake up. How do we address this challenge? How do we overcome it? For instance, now there was a particular time I called somebody to come and be teaching me how to cope with this, technological innovations, and I'm coping. I'm still learning. If I have a challenge, okay, I have a boy who has just gained admission. He has become an assistant.
I like that point.
Teaching me.
I like that point that you've just raised.
Yes.
You mentioned something a few minutes back.
Okay.
That there are some lecturers who will tell you they are born before computers.
Exactly.
These kind of people, in my own experience, are people who don't even want to. They're not ready to learn it.
God bless.
Meanwhile, they have the best brains. For example, maybe in the course that they are even lecturing.
Yeah.
Now, if let's say the government is ready to change the phase of education in Nigeria, and we're about to go e-learning, we're about to go the e-learning way, and every lecturer is to be taught or equipped with that skill, we'll stand a chance of losing some of these lecturers because they are not willing to learn.
There's no doubt.
How then do we navigate that?
My sister, it's a big challenge, because lecturers are not easy to replace. These are the people that have been taught, trained over the years. It's not easy. You can't get a professor by the roadside. And you know how many years it will take you to produce a professor. And they were trained in the traditional way, and they were so enamored with the way they've been doing it. For you to change their orientation, you will still have a long way to go. And these are not just people you can easily replace, as I said. Yet they have some inherent problems that should be addressed. And with sense of respect, there's something so egoistic about professors. You hardly can correct them. They believe they are on top of the world. Of I'm sorry. They believe they are on top. Whereas life is not like that. With the realities on ground now, you can't undermine anybody. That was why I said the other time that you can. The appellation of being addressed as a lecturer is being faded away, because everything you need to know, there was, in the past, you regarded lecturers as authority, as main authority, whatever it says.
Because that was basically the only source of knowledge.
Knowledge, so the only source of information. But that is being faulted this day with technology. Go online. There's nothing you need that you don't get online. So how can you now be seeing somebody as the only authority you have around? There is no issue. There is no topic you want under the sun that you won't get. You will get online. Now, if you now begin to see yourself, you still continue to see yourself as the main authority. You are deceiving yourself. How do you now change their orientation? Well, one of the ways to change their orientation is what this virus has come to impose on us. It has come to challenge everybody to wake up. But nobody prepared for it. So, and I was listening to a lecture organized by some women in Lagos. They said, well, what are the roles of government in this era in which we find ourselves? Well, paradigm shift in governance. You can't continue to be doing this thing the way you've been doing it. We have to change. We've got to change. Lecturers should begin to look for how to go for more training, particularly in the internet and the technology, how to cope, because now it's a big challenge for everybody. I have my son now, who is my teacher. Anytime I encounter any problem on my computer, I call, and immediately, effortlessly, he will solve the problem for me. I can't underrate him and say, what are you talking about? Anytime I encounter any problem, I just call him, Bobo, how do I do this? So that is so simple. Do this, and I'll just be looking at him. Amazing. That was the boy I gave birth to yesterday. So the same way our lecturers, our professors, should begin to see life. They should come down from that egoistic level. They should just come down, realizing that the innovation we have these days has come to unravel certain things that should just humble you. Let me put it that way. We should be humble. There's something they call intellectual humility. They should imbibe it. It is the era we find ourselves. We should just be humble.
Funny enough, these innovations are not going to take anything away from them.
No.
In fact, it's going to add to them. So why is it difficult for them to see that angle?
Ego. We professor, where were you in 19so when I got my PhD? We have left that era. We have gone past that era. I've just started the example of my boy, given to about 16 years ago. He's the one teaching me how to cope. If there is a problem on my computer now that I'm going to invite him to come and solve for me, he's the one teaching me how to cope. So the university lecturers, the university lecturers should imbibe that kind of humble spirit. That flexibility, that humility, that I don't know it all. That orientation that there is a new era now in which I need to retrain myself, particularly in this era we find ourselves.
Other virtual learning skeptics, people that are not really sure of it, they've had some issue come up, talk about how effective the e-learning platform is going to be as a feedback mechanism for students. In your own experience, how well would you say it has been so far? I'm talking about examinations, tests, and all that.
Well, I'm thinking myself, because when you say, we know our orientation in Nigeria, when you say somebody should do exam online, the parents will be there by the student side to be teaching and be putting him through. We need to do away with that kind of orientation. We need to imbibe the spirit of independence. I can do this thing by myself. I should go and learn how to do this thing by myself. Don't just be assisting people. Your child wants to write WAEC. You are looking for a way to bribe your way around, to go and bribe the teacher, bribe the invigilator. No, we have gone past that era. Allow these people to learn. Everybody should learn. That is one major lessons we have encountered in this era. People should learn. People should learn, because it will get to a point that you won't see anybody to assist you. For instance, now I see a young lady come here to set this, and I ask her, what did you study? Is a mass communication, or a young lady fixing all this equipment. A time is coming when the lady will not be around, and you have a guest here, and you have to fix this thing by yourself. That's the challenge these people are facing. Now, going back to your question about feedback, how do you now get feedback from? I think it's simple. Provided we have the means, provided we get to a level with which everybody can cope. For instance, now you send an email to me, I reply you get it immediately. But what if you send it to me and I'm unable to reply? And I don't have means to reply. Haven't you sent a message to somebody and said, well, my battery is down since yesterday. I've just got your message.
That reminds me of one of the private universities in Nigeria that is planning on having a virtual examination for the students. And one of the students that I know was talking to me about how, what if I don't have data? What if my internet is not strong enough to transmit the response on time? And they said submit. What do you do in that instance?
What do you do? What do you do there? Submit. You can't effectively monitor people. to say, okay, these are 40 students writing my exam, and let's go. It's not possible. But you are not there, number one. Number two, do you have adequate facility on ground to monitor and to supervise this thing? That is the problem. What if I don't have data? What do I do? Are you going to expel me? Are you going to say I failed? And I don't have means. My parents are poor, I don't even have a computer. Do you know why some young ladies go into prostitution? They want high phone. They want to buy phone. Because they know that with phone, with a quality handset, you are connected to the world. But when you don't have phone, or you have phone, you don't have a means of buying data, what do you do? My observation has shown that this is one of the reasons why all these small young ladies are going to prostitution. They want to buy phone, they want to have data. When they have these two, they'll be able to market themselves. I see them around. They go and they hire, sophisticated photographers. They package themselves. They post for pictures, and they send the picture all over the world. But if you don't have data, how do you cope?
In the meantime, everyone is looking to the government to put infrastructures in place for e-learning and all that. But what can parents and even students themselves do during this period to assist in bringing about, speeding up the process?
So simple. We've got to prioritize. We've got to know that times have changed. It's not enough to just buy books for students and say go back to school. Part of the requirement in school now for you to be successful is to have access to this thing we are talking about. It's money. You have to prioritize. Parents, students should begin to see ICT now as a major area in which they have to invest heavily. If you don't have to buy, let me say you don't have to buy any fanciful dress that come your way. Rather, you focus your attention on access to internet, your set or your laptop and your data. They should take priority because of the area we have found ourselves. So when we prioritize, when we know that this is number one after food, shelter, and your other things, this should come next if I'm going to be educated. This is an area I want every parent, every student to focus attention on. It's not, the area of saying I want to impress anybody has come now. If you know you want to be educated, prioritize acquisition of this gadget we are talking about. Parents should begin to save money for the education of their children, and part of that requirement is that you should allow these children to have access to have their own laptop, their own phone, and you empower them by providing data. Another requirement. It's a paradigm shift, as I've said. Our attention should be there. Just like car owners, they will say if their cars have fault, they prefer to go without eating. They prefer to fix those cars because they know the value. Now we should begin to realize the value of all these things we are talking about: data, access to internet, and prioritize and save money towards it. That is one area I think every parent, every student should pay attention to. But then the level of poverty, because nobody wants to be left behind. Everybody wants to look good.
The level of poverty cannot be corrected overnight.
Yes.
So does it mean we're stuck with this? Let's say Corona doesn't go and poverty doesn't get alleviated. It means we're stuck with this.
No,
or is there another way out?
Yes, we are not stuck. The way out is that they say your value determines your priority. It is whatever you have made up your mind to achieve that you are prioritizing, that you pay attention to. As difficult as Nigeria is now, people are eating. You get it? People are eating, people are doing other things, the little money that comes your way, do what we call in economics scale what do we call it then? Scale of preference. That this is very important. This is very, very important. I think that is one of the solutions. And the government itself should begin to look at how do we empower people. The level, the rate at which money is being stolen, is being embezzled at government level should fade away, should go. We are so rich in this country. This is not a poor country, but we are poorly managed. It's not a poor country. We have the resources. All this idea of several millions of naira is given to police to face, should go, should stop. You know, our leaders should learn. This era has conscientized everybody that, well, one, life is vanity. Those houses they built abroad, those houses they bought in Dubai, and now with this era now they can't go there. They should begin to think that, look, this is vanity. Let us come back home and empower people. Let us come back home and pay attention to those areas that can elevate, take away people from poverty. That should be the thinking. Enough of all this. I want to have 20 cars. I want to have a house in Dubai, a house in America. Yeah. If our resources are channeled toward, bailing out people from poverty, we won't have this problem. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. We would not have this problem we're having.
All right, thank you very much. We have been discussing with Mr. Sunday Saanu, who is an educationist and a media practitioner, and we've been discussing the e-learning option in Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on the show, sir.
I'm so grateful. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll wrap things up with this report by Anwar Komolafe on TESCOM. We'll be right back.